Hi, my name is Ben Plessier and I am a fervent user of Wappler. With this video I will introduce you to the data store component. The data store component allows you to store and edit local data in a simple local storage-driven database. The data store can use to create a shopping cart, favorite products list, task lists, etc. In this tutorial we will show you how to add a shopping cart functionality to your site. This is what I propose to create. When I add a product to the cart, the shopping cart pops up with the product. Here I can increase and decrease the quantity. When doing this, the amounts are automatically updated. Adding a second item repeats the action. Notice the shopping cart notification. Clicking on this opens the shopping cart. The shopping cart notification is available anywhere in the site. It is also possible to delete the products in the shopping cart. What I did not show, when the Add to Cart button is clicked on more than once for the same product, this will increase the quantity. I hope that this has whetted your appetite, so let's get cracking. Our current project thus far. I created a server action that returns all of the products. Then I filtered the data on featured, using data view. Using the filtered data source, I created a repeating area to list the products. I also included an Add to Cart button for each of the products. This button will be used to add the selected product into the shopping cart. Because the shopping cart is available from all of the public-facing pages, I will create the shopping cart in the layout page. Actually, the same can be said for Product Server Connect. This is used in several parts of the project, so let me cut the code and paste it in the layout page. Time to define the data store schema. I right-click on App and in the pop-up, I select Data and Data Store. Let me change the data store ID to something more meaningful. I will be using local storage. Therefore I will not place a tick mark next to session storage. Then click the Define Date Store Scheme button. In the pop-up, right-click on the data store and add variable. Give the variable the name of ID. Right-click the ID variable and repeat the process for name. Price. Quantity. Now set the type for each of the variables. Save the file and we are done setting up the local storage schema. Now to set up the visual shopping cart. As you have seen in the introduction, the shopping cart is placed in a modal. Right-click the main element and choose to add the modal after it. Here I give the modal a recognizable ID. Increase its size. And make it fade in and out. I then go ahead and change the modal title. Change the text of the first button. Delete the second button and replace it with an anchor button. Change the text. Add a button style. This button will be used to link to the checkout page, but this will be covered in the next video. To add dynamic data, I first delete the default content in the modal body. Then, inside the modal body, I select Generators and Bootstrap Table Generator. The dynamic source is the data store. Here I select a couple of styles. If you have been following this video, you will have noticed that I need to add a couple of extra columns. The first column is called Actions. This is where I will place the buttons to add and subtract the quantity and to delete the item. The second column will show the total amount per item. Now to delete the ID columns. We do not want to show these in the shopping cart. The price column needs to be formatted to currency. To be able to select the table cell, I have to turn the App Connect mode off. Selecting the cell, I scroll down to Dynamic Attributes. Here I see that the table generator has already populated the cell with the price. I hit the Dynamic Data button and in the pop-up, I select the Format button. This is where the price is formatted to currency. Now for the Actions column. Inside the Actions cell, I add a button. I duplicate the button a couple of times, giving me 3 buttons all up. Double-clicking the first button to select the edit mode, I select the Font Awesome button and search for a minus icon. Here I select the required icon. I then repeat the process for the other 2 buttons, making these a plus and a trash button. Now for a recognizable ID and a bit of styling. This includes making the button smaller. The last column shows the total amount per item. In the Properties panel, I scroll down to Dynamic Attributes. I select Display, and enter text. Here I select the price. The price is then multiplied. By the quantity. Then the product of the multiplication is formatted to currency. This is what we have so far. This includes an error in line 89 of the code. The problem here is a duplicate element ID. Let me fix this now. After the table body, I want to create a table foot. This is so that the amounts will have the same alignment. I right-click the table body and insert after, a table foot. Unfortunately, this version of Wappler does not facilitate this feature. A feature request has been lodged so that future versions of Wappler will have this included. For now, let me show you an easy workaround. After the closing table body tag, I add the following code. tfoot, greater than, tr, greater than, td, and enter. The result is a properly coded table foot. Selecting the newly created table cell, I add a paragraph inside it. I now change the text to, total amount with a space after it. Then I select the dynamic icon. In the pop-up I select the Data Store, Data, and the Format button. Here I select Collections and Sum. For the property, I select Price, and the Format button. To multiply the price by quantity, I follow the, by now, well-known procedure. Close the various dialogues to return to the original data formats dialog. Here I right-click on the cart data and in the drop-down, select Numeric, and Format to Currency. The problem that I am faced with is that the cell does not span all 5 columns. To rectify this, I shoot off to the DOM panel. Here I enter 5 for the column span. Back in the App Structure panel with the paragraph selected, I add a right align. Now for a few adjustments to the shopping cart. The price, quantity, and actions columns get a center alignment. The amount column gets a right alignment. Perhaps I could have right aligned the price column as well. I'll leave this up to you to decide. Then I go ahead and apply the same alignments to the cells. What rests now is to add functionality to the buttons. I select the minus button. I scroll down in the Properties panel to Dynamic Events. Here I select the mouse on click event. For the action, I select to update the data store. Now to select which record to update. I use the default record ID returned by the data store component. Here I need to decrease the quantity. For this to happen, I enter quantity -1. With the minus button still selected, I go to Dynamic Attributes. Here I select Input and Disabled. The value is quantity equal to 1. The first part of the process is repeated for the plus button. The mouse on click event under Dynamic Attributes. Update the record with a $ID. This time, 1 is added to the quantity. Now for the delete button. Again a mouse on click event under Dynamic Events. The action is to delete the record from the data store. The data store record ID is again selected. Save the page and we are done with the buttons. Just a couple of more creations to go. Namely a button to show the shopping cart, and a way to populate the shopping cart. For the shopping cart button, I add a button after the navbar collapse region. This is so that the button will show in smaller screens when the rest of the navigation items disappear. I double-click the button to enter edit mode and select the Font Awesome button. Here I choose the shopping cart icon. The button gets the usual treatment. To show the shopping cart, I set the action toggle to modal. Then I select the modal that was created earlier on. To hide the button when the shopping cart is empty, I scroll down to Dynamic Attributes. Here I select to hide the button. when the shopping cart is empty. Save the page. And this is the final version of the shopping cart. With the shopping cart finished, I can now add functionality to the Add to Cart button in the index page. I start by turning App Connect mode off, so that I can see the Add to Cart button. Selecting the Add to Cart button, I scroll down to Dynamic Events in the Properties panel. Here I choose the mouse on click event. Then I select the Dynamic Data Picker for the action. We need a functionality that automatically updates the product quantity, if the product has already been added to the cart, or inserted as a new product there if it's not in the cart yet. So, I select Update or Insert Records action, and click the Add button. In order to check if the product is already in the cart, we need to use its unique ID. So, we are going to check the dynamic product ID, returned by our database. Under which records, click the Dynamic Data Picker to select your unique product ID. Then, under New Values, I select the corresponding dynamic bindings. When a product is added to the shopping cart, its quantity needs to be set to 1. If a product already exists in the shopping cart, its quantity needs to be updated by an increment of 1. Normally, when text is entered here, Wappler will automatically add single quotation marks to the text. To overcome this, I select Code View. For the value I enter, backtick, quantity, space, plus sign, space, 1, and backtick. Lastly, show the modal. Save the file and we are done. To test what we have so far, I go to the Layout page and turn the Preview mode on. Then I select the Home page where I add a product to the cart. Here I can increase and decrease the quantity. Adding the same product merely increases the quantity. I can also add other products. And delete products. That is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and see you in the next video where I will create the checkout page. Thank you for watching.